in 10 minutes. Here we go.
Hey, and welcome folks to This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. I'm the president and the founder of the Diversity Networking Group. And folks, this week we've got some interesting things we're talking about. As a matter of fact, we just finished with the Christian Business Connection, which was this morning over at Panera Bread. And had some new people. So let me tell you some interesting things that happened here, folks. You know, this show is all about business. It's all about business, what's going on in Vegas, and so we highlight a lot of business owners and what's going on. And we've got some great articles today to talk about. But I want to talk about something that just happened recently. We do most of our broadcasts from Facebook. I mean, we generally use it all the time, and it works out just great for us. But recently I was asked to start a meetup group, and so we're using meetup.com. I don't know if you've ever heard of meetup.com, but I mean, they've got hundreds, thousands, millions of meetup groups. Well, I started a group for the Christian Business Connection, and evidently somebody was disappointed in our group, and we hadn't even had a first meeting yet, but somebody actually wrote into meetup.com and said, hey, you guys are in an inappropriate group. And I said, are you kidding me? What do you mean inappropriate group? And they said, well, we'll give you 24 hours to come back and tell us what you guys are doing in your group. Now, for those of you who have never heard of the Christian Business Connection, and or your first time to the show, the Christian Business Connection is a networking group. It's a faith-based networking group. You know, we spend a little bit of time and talk about God and stuff like that, and business and how it relates and all that other good stuff. Well, and that's really what it's all about. So I told everybody on Meetup, hey, that's what we're doing. That's the focus of the group. Well, somebody evidently thought we were an inappropriate group, and Meetup gave me 24 hours in order to answer to them what our group was all about. And this was like on the 15th, and I'm busy. I mean, I got things I'm doing. I got things I'm doing all the time. I'm working with business owners. We're starting new networking groups. We're doing speeches. We're doing all kinds of things. I did not get back to them in 24 hours. Okay, well, they canceled my membership at meetup.com because we're inappropriate. Somebody complained against us, so I wrote back to them in all fairness to Meetup, and I'm going to give you a little bit of time to get back to me on this. But I got to find out why you would, cancel my subscription, and we're just a networking group. We're no different than any other networking group that's out there, and so we got to find out why. So I'm going to give you a chance, and I'll let you guys know next week what happened with this Meetup thing, because I'm a little upset about it, and I thought I'd let everybody know about this. And so if you have any influence, any of my listeners out there, if you have any influence on the people over at Meetup, you call them up and you let them know the Christian Business Connection is this a great group. It's fine, So call them and let them know, why did you ban the Christian Business Connection on meetup.com? Okay, so that's what happened recently. Hey, I want to let you know something. And now, folks, Million Quinteros is the producer over here at the City FM. So if you hear me talking about Million over here, it's because Million's behind the board over there, and I know he's doing something important, but we just don't know what it is. So maybe we'll put the camera on him at some point to find out what he's doing, playing Space Invaders or something like that. I'm sure, but that's probably what he's doing. I was talking with somebody, Million, and we'll get to our stories here in just a second, but I want to talk to Million for just a second. I was talking with a business owner who listens to the show, and she actually was watching you like 2 weeks ago. And so we were laughing about it, and she goes, what's Million doing over there? And I could see him on occasion when he's doing something. So,
what do you mean she was watching me? That's kind of creepy.
I know.
I feel like Rockwell in that old 80s song.
I know. Well, every once in a while, people actually we'll have the camera. For those of you who are watching on the webcam here, every once in a while we'll have the camera spun around just enough where you can see what Million is doing over here.
You can watch me on Facebook making snarky comments at people.
That's it. Yes. So that's what he's doing. So
my only question, here with the show here, but my only question is, why would we detract from the full screen Sherman Ray with fractions of me? It's like
because people want to see this.
We can't dilute that handsomeness.
Oh God,
it's just not right. You just don't do that. So,
yeah, okay,
I'm just throwing that out
sure.
there for consideration.
I appreciate that, but something happened here. Oh, I think we lost our camera here. But anyways, Of course, the camera goes away now.
As soon as you say that.
As soon as we say that. So anyways, every once in a while that happens, and we'll see if we can get the camera back here in just a second. But so anyways, let's get to I don't know what happened. Something happened here. Oh, here, I'll get it back. Hang on. Okay, we're back. Anyways, let's get to some of the articles that we had today. For once again, if this is your first time tuning in, this is This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Wright. And we are producing this live from the City FM here in fabulous Las Vegas, Nevada. And speaking of Las Vegas, Nevada, over at the Rio, they're actually having a fashion show. I don't know if you heard about this, but they're having for the 13th year, Women's Wear in Nevada has taken over the Rio Hotel and Convention Center. This production started back in, I think it's 98, and they had 250 booths when they first started. And now in 2013, they have 850 booths featuring 1,500 lines. And now the show is actually held twice a year. So it's a big deal for women's wear in Las Vegas. So we want to congratulate the folks over there at the Rio, and Ronald Timney, and he's done a great job over there. So we want to tip our hats to you guys. Some interesting things going on down there. Let's stay with Las Vegas, and there's actually an article that I wanted to get to. Now, for those of you who are wondering what's going on downtown in Las Vegas, and we've talked about Tony Hsieh for a long time. He's doing a fantastic job downtown, and a couple of things have been going on down there. But for those of you who have ever heard of the Arts District, which is downtown, it is an area of town that right now is kind of run down. It's kind of scary, to tell you the truth. And but it once a month, the first Friday of the month, it's called First Fridays. And so what happens? A freak show happens. No, it's not a freak show, but it's a lot of eclectic people and a lot of people who are artsy go down there and they show off their wares and stuff like that. And little bit by little bit, over the last couple of years, people have been starting to have more and more businesses down that way. And it's all in an effort to revitalize that whole Arts District area. And that's Casino Center and Charleston area, that kind of area where, it's been run down for a long time. Well, there was a couple over there, and it's two ladies. It's Pamela and Christina Dylag. And they actually opened up a bar down there. And it's actually at 218 South Main Street. And they actually started a bar, and one of the things that they did is they were going through money right and left where they were going through all their money. And they were able to find funds from a couple of different sources, and that's really kind of the whole crux of this thing. One of them was from some private investors, but another one was from the Las Vegas Redevelopment Agency. And the redevelopment agency was able to give them a lot with their funding and moving this thing forward. So we're really excited, folks, over there. If you get a chance and you want to go down to a place, it's actually got some neat things going on. The Velveteen Rabbit is the place to go. So one of the other things, and we're going to probably have a related story in the next segment about another guy who actually was able to get some funds to start his place, and it's not just a distribution place, folks. It's actually a full-on manufacturing place that's going on downtown. Anyways, for those of you who just tuned in, this is This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. I'm the founder and the president of the Diversity Networking Group. Hey, if you're ever in town, folks, we want to invite you to come down to our group. We meet over at 7175 West Lake Mead Boulevard. It's over at the Panera Bread, 7 o'clock in the morning, and generally on Wednesdays and Thursdays, they're both the same thing, but two different groups. One is called the Christian Business Connection, and the other one's called the Diversity Networking Group. And tomorrow, folks, we've got Corey Coles coming in. She's going to talk all about taxes and corporations. She's worked for million-dollar companies, and she's able to give us the inside scoop on what's going on. So anyways, folks, stick around. We'll be back in just a minute with This Week on DNG Radio.
Clear.
Hey, we're back, folks. This is This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. Hey, in the last segment, we were talking a little bit about what's going on downtown. We want to continue with that. And we want to welcome folks that are coming in and they're watching us on the old webcam. Hey, what we'd like to do is we'd like to encourage you, if you like what you see on here, I'd like you to go to our Twitter account, which is DivNetGrip, which is DIVNetGRP, which is Diversity Networking Group, and give us some comments, and let us give us some feedback on what's going on. It's funny, I get to hear from people out in the real world when I go out and do some business consulting and stuff like that. And it's really kind of interesting to hear what people's comments are. And we found out that there's a lot of people who watch the show, and download the podcast off of either thecityfm.com or they go to iTunes and they download the show. But it's always great when we have Twitter followers. So join us at on our Twitter board and stuff like that. And give us some feedback, and let's find out who's actually calling me here, folks. So just bear with me real quick. Well, it was probably a client, so we'll just continue on with the show. So, anyways, for a lot of people that they follow us on Twitter, and so we want to find out who they are, and let us know who you are. If some things work out good for us, let us know. Okay. So, anyways, let's talk a little bit about what else is going on downtown. There's a guy. What is his name? Now, this guy was a former employee of Zappos, and his name is Craig Adkins. And he spent decades creating efficiencies and production lines over at Zappos. And he decided that, that he was going to start his own company too. Now, this is really cool. So for a while, the guy was kind of going in and out, developing things for Tony Hsieh and stuff like that. But he left Zappos in late 2012 and to work full-time as the managing partner of a new project. And this place is actually a shoe factory, and it's not a distribution place. It's a literal factory, a shoe factory that's downtown, and they call it the Fremont Shoes. I mean, I don't know if you've heard about this. This is pretty interesting stuff. So we're excited for him that this guy is going to be doing stuff, and they say that interesting thing about it, it's going to have on the box, "Made in the USA." I know, I heard a collective jaw drop. Yes, shoes are going to be made in the USA. So we are very excited for you, Craig. I think, it doesn't actually give the address for where the shoe store is going to be at, but it's going to be downtown someplace. If you know anything about Tony Hsieh, we were talking about him yesterday, actually over the weekend, my brother-in-law and I. My brother-in-law's into real estate, and he basically said Tony Hsieh has basically bought up half of downtown, half of Fremont Street, like on the north side of Fremont Street. He's pretty much bought all of that from like Las Vegas Boulevard all the way down to 6th Street or 7th Street, and so he's really just bringing in all of his buddies and all of his friends, which is cool. And so Craig is part of that whole Tony Hsieh thing. So bravo for him. Hey, let's talk a little bit more about some of the things that are going on downtown. As a matter of fact, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about what's going on. This actually is about downtown, but it's really not about businesses opening. It's really about the legislature. The legislature is actually going to extend the downtown hotel room tax. Now, this is interesting. This is out of the Las Vegas Sun. The article says the city of Las Vegas proposed state legislation regarding downtown redevelopment now includes extending a 20-year room tax an additional 25 years. Okay? And it's raising questions among downtown businesses. The tax was first imposed in the mid-1990s to pay off bonds sold to construct downtown's Fremont Street experience. Now, for those of you who've been a part of the show for a while, that was actually the first project I ever worked on was a Fremont Street experience. Now the city wants to extend the tax beyond the date it was to expire in 2015. Now it's going to go down to 2040. Now, the interesting thing about it is the money was originally, the tax was there, kind of was phased in so they could pay for the Fremont Street experience. Now they're saying, hey, why are you going to extend this tax, the downtown hotel room tax? What are you going to build? And some people think that they're going to build an arena or maybe road improvements or maybe even a stadium. because remember, for years now, they've been talking about doing a stadium downtown, and it's kind of been shelved, and it's kind of not gone shelved and stuff like that. So they're wondering, what the heck are you going to do with the money? Other potential uses for the money were suggested, like an electric canopy, building a better connection between the Fremont Street experience and the growing Fremont Street East District, more green parks downtown, stuff like that. So they want to know, what the heck are they going to do with the money? So I don't think people are really so much upset about the fact that they're going to be paying something for another 25 years. They just want to know, what are you going to do with the money? You know, unfortunately, what happens with most people, or most things that they do when they raise taxes, they say, oh, we're only going to have it for a couple of years. Right. Yeah, which means that if you say something is going to be for about 5 or 6 years, it means it's probably going to go for the next 65 years. So be very careful with stuff like that. Let's stay on the topic of the Nevada legislature. State Senator Tick Segerblom, okay. He means well, but one of the things that this guy said is that he wants to change the Nevada state constitution. He said that the Constitution was written back in the 1800s, and as a result of that, a lot of the things that we do now are outdated, antiquated, that kind of stuff. So one of the things he wants to do is, get this, he wants to say that lawmakers should receive $2,000 a month whether or not the lights are on at the state legislature. Okay? So no matter where they're at, no matter what's going on, even if they're off, they should still get $2,000 a month. Okay? That's one of the things he says. He also says that, put it this way, a lot of people are upset at this guy now, because he is basically saying, hey guys, we want to make sure that we get paid no matter what's going on, and so we want to keep our eye on that. We're going to keep an eye on Senator Tick. Kind of sounds like a good name for him. He's a tick, is he? So, okay. So anyways, I think we can get in one more story before the break here. This is out of the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Many of you probably remember what's going on with a condo project that was going on downtown, or excuse me, up on the south end of the valley over in Henderson. There's a condo project going on there, and the guy who was developing it reneged on it, he jumped bail, he ran out of town, he couldn't get all the financing. Well, he got sued. His name was Chris Milam, and he is the focus of a lawsuit. He's going to testify on Friday, 9 o'clock, and they're going to put him under oath, and they're going to make sure he tells the truth. The lawyer, Harry Daham, who won a $1.1 million judgment against Milam in the wake of a failed condo project near the Strip, said that, you know what, I want my money. And that's the big thing right now. And so Milam is he's saying, hey, you know what, folks, give me more time. I wasn't fraudulent. Maybe my dog ate my, ate my piece of paper, ate my report. But this guy is being sued, and this is a very interesting thing. And many of you remember what's going on. There have been a lot of people back in, especially in the Henderson area, who have said, hey, we want to secure land at a certain price, but then they go out and sell the thing to somebody else for a higher price. And really it's fraudulent. And that's one of the things that's going on with this same guy, that he's just kind of got caught in a fraud. But now he was sued, and they want their money. So Friday, Milam, he's going to actually be there. And so we're going to see what's going to happen with him. Hey, and before the break, one last thing, and we'll have to carry this over in the next segment, but I really want to let everybody know about this. For those of you who have been in Las Vegas for quite a while, you've probably heard of Ahern Rentals. Okay, Ahern Rentals is a company that's been around for about 60 years, and right now it's in Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and it's been around for a while. There was a time when you'd go over to Ahern Rentals, and they had so many trucks, so many pieces of equipment out there, especially during the boom time in Las Vegas, that it was incredible that you would ever think that this place would go into bankruptcy, but it is. And there's fear that they actually might lose the company. Yet there's people who really want to take the company away from them. So what we'll do is in the next segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about that. For those of you who are just joining us, this is This Week on DNG Radio. I'm your host, Sherman Ray. This is a production of the Diversity Networking Group. If you're ever in town, guys, come on up to the Diversity Networking Group. Be a part of something that's great. We meet at the Panera Bread at 7175 West Lake Mead Boulevard at 7 o'clock in the morning. Wow, it's a wonderful place to be at. Hey, we'll be back in just a minute to wrap it up. In our final segment, we're going to talk a little bit more about Ahern rentals. We'll be back in just a minute.
Clear.
All right, folks, we are back with This Week on DNG Radio, the production of the Diversity Networking Group. That's right, folks. The Diversity Networking Group, we meet a couple times during the week, folks. As a matter of fact, in the break, Million was asking, how many business owners do we actually work with? And I'll tell you, folks, we work with about 100 business owners throughout the week in some capacity or another. Either they're a part of our networking group or they receive our emails, networking stuff, newsletters, that kind of stuff. Very, very interesting things, and we're always getting better and better all the time. Matter of fact, one of the things that we actually are part of is a thing called the EDGE training, and the EDGE training is really just a fantastic resource for business owners who are looking to expand their territory. They're looking to give them an extra foot up. Matter of fact, I've learned so much about, and it's my group, I've learned more from the EDGE training in the short time that we've actually had that up than I've learned in a long time. And I love video, love being a part of that kind of stuff. And we're also a part of a group called the Las Vegas Business Promotion Network, and that is very cool. I'll tell you, we're that close to launching full-fledged to having the LV Biz Pro up and running. And that has been very cool too. So, and maybe we'll talk a little bit about that in the weeks to come. And I'll give you a sneak preview on it. One of the things that we're going to be doing is we're working with a magazine to do some articles and some advertising through this magazine. And now this is an exclusive, folks. And so you're going to get to hear it first. In the next coming months, folks, you're going to be able to see some of my writings in a major publication here in Las Vegas. Pretty cool. Yeah, I'm excited about it, folks. I'm more than excited, folks. I am giddy. I'm more than that's pretty good. I'm more than excited. I am giddy, and that's my new word now, giddy. And so we were talking about it yesterday, and so I'm very excited about that too. So be looking for that in the future, and it's all about the Diversity Networking Group. So, anyways, let's get back to our story here. Okay, 60 years ago, this guy by the name of John Ahern started a gas station near where the Stratosphere stands right now. I don't know if you remember this, because we were all here 60 years ago, right? Yeah. So 60 years ago, where the Stratosphere Tower was, there used to be a gas station, and John Ahern actually started his company there. Well, fast forward now 60 years later, and his son, Don Ahern, has 97% of the company, but it's, they're in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. And there are people who want, they got a lot of people who they owe money to. I think they owe like $379.2 million that they owe against this property. And so the lenders say, hey, we want our money back. And, Don is saying, hey, I can pay it, but it's going to take me a little while. But there's a bunch of junior lenders, and they said that they filed their own terms February 8th, and they want to take legal action and get the Aherns out, and so they can get their money and take control of the company. So after 60 years, Ahern may not see their 61st year as a family-owned business, and that's really sad. Because not too many companies actually are family-owned and stay family-owned. Ford, I think, is the largest family-owned company in America. So the Ford family, or somebody who is generally part of the lineage of the Ford family, is still owns the company, or still runs the company. I don't know if you saw the story, but many of you have probably heard about what's the guy's name? John Bonaventure. Ventura, excuse me. And if you haven't heard about this, folks, you're going to hear about it now. John Bonaventura is the constable right now for the city of Las Vegas. And he got busted just about 2 weeks ago. Well, guess what? That's right, drunk driving. Yeah, he was drunk driving, and not only was he drunk driving, but he was drunk driving in a city vehicle, in his constable's. Yeah, these are the people we elect here in Las Vegas, right? And so the guy says, hey, hey, I was framed. He blames Commissioner June Kiliani. He blames her for his problems. And he's saying to everybody, no, it's because she wants to get rid of my position. That's why she set her attack dogs after me. They made me drink. They made me drive my car. I know, yeah. You can't make this stuff up. You can't make this stuff up. So basically, his job is in limbo. Now the constable's job is being looked at to being ousted here in the city of Las Vegas. And the constable, what they do is they go around and they serve paperwork on people, and they carry out evictions and that kind of stuff. And so it's actually a political job. People vote to have these people in. Well. And there's only a handful of these guys that are actually around that do this thing. But John Bonaventura was busted, and you know what? They're probably going to get rid of him even sooner. I don't think it can happen until the people vote him out, because it's an elected position. But he's blaming all of his problems on somebody else, which is amazing. Interesting things that are going on. This is an article I wanted to get to, as a matter of fact. We're staying with some of the things that are going on with some of the business things that are going on in Vegas. There's a bill in Carson City, and the bill would require nonprofit organizations that solicit funds to register with the Secretary of State's office and file annual statements. Okay? It would also allow investigations by the Secretary of State's office and require charities to pay the office for its investigation costs and attorney's fees. Okay? The court also would be permitted to order financial judgments against officers of the charities board. Okay? This is interesting, folks, because this has never happened before. Generally, charities are immune to anybody checking into their status, who's part of their board, or anything like that. So now there's a bill in Carson City that would actually institute this thing that would say, hey, now you charities have to register with the state secretary, and if he investigates you, you got to pay all the court costs, and your board members are actually going to be liable for any financial judgments that go against the particular charity. Well, many of you know these nonprofits are generally run by volunteers. So can you imagine how many people are going to volunteer to be on the board of a nonprofit now? They're going to say, I don't think so. Well, yeah, that's what's happening. So people on the right and the left side of the aisle are saying, hey, we think this is wrong. So you got people who are on the right hand of the aisle, you know, people like the Eagle Forum, and they're saying, no, we don't want this. And people who are on the left side, even Planned Parenthood, is saying, hey, we don't want this because, you know, we want to be able to conduct our business, you know, and it's crazy, folks, that the intrusion by the legislature, they're going to try to find a way probably of excising some kind of tax on charities also. So, you know, it's something to keep an eye on. We're going to keep an eye on that story also too. So be very, very careful, folks. It's very, very careful on this thing. Wow. Hey, we got one more story. I got one more story before we get out of here, because I want to talk a little bit about something that's going on that we're working on with the Diversity Networking Group. There is actually a law that they're proposing that hospitals will be able to refuse to hire smokers. Did you know that? Yeah, right now there's a law that says you can't discriminate against somebody. If they smoke, they do anything off hours, that you can't do anything to them. But the hospital is saying, hey, we want to repeal the Senate bill, and it's Senate Bill number 87, and they want to repeal this bill. A legislator has brought this up in Carson City, and they want to do something about this. Now, which is interesting. You would think as an employer that an employer can say, hey, we don't want people in our employ who smoke. You know, because one, it's they have to pay for their health care costs, they have to pay for their time out of work, that kind of stuff. And you would think they have a right to this, but it's been against the law for you to even, you know, tell anybody about this. Even you as an employer cannot do this. So that's something that's in the works right now. So we'll be watching that story too. It should be very, very interesting how that turns out. Hey, well, anyways, we want to remind you folks about the Diversity Networking Group. We meet every week. The Wednesday group is the Christian Business Connection. We meet at 7 o'clock in the morning over at the Panera Bread. And our Thursday group, the Diversity Networking Group, once again meets at 7 o'clock in the morning and on Thursdays over at the Panera Bread at 7175 West Lake Mead Boulevard. We want to invite you out to that. 7 o'clock in the morning. This week we're actually having Corey Coles, and she's been working with a company, actually a number of companies for quite a few years, and she does their bookkeeping, their taxes, their HR, all that kind of stuff. Well, she's going to be talking about taxes and how you can actually position your business to take advantage of, of some of your tax status, which is very important, especially nowadays. We also want to invite you out, if you ever want to come out to the EDGE training, that happens actually the second Tuesday of every month over at the the Lakeside Business Suites at 2620 Regatta Drive, suite number 102. That's the second Tuesday of every month. We want to invite you out to that. That starts at 7 o'clock till 9 o'clock. We also have the Cutting Edge training, which is very cool. Really, what's the EDGE training all about? Well, it's all about you, the business owner, and empowering you and giving you the edge on your competition. We teach leadership skills, social media, how to be a better speaker, all that great stuff, and it all happens on the second Tuesday of every month. And lastly, folks, we want to talk to you a little bit about the LV Biz Pro Network, the Las Vegas Business Promotion Network. It is launched, folks, and we are going to have our first seminar starting in March, which will be great. We'll be talking about wealth management, social media, cost reduction for seniors, all that kind of stuff. It is just a blast. We are so excited about it. And once again, we've got a major new, magazine that is signed on with us, and they are part of the LV Biz Pro Network. Very, very cool. Anyways, this has been Sherman Ray, and this is This Week on DNG Radio, a publication of the Diversity Networking Group. I want to thank Million Quinteros over here at thecityfm.com for being for producing this show. If you ever have any questions, folks, just kind of direct all your stuff to the City FM. I'm sure Million would love to hear from you. Follow us on Twitter, folks, at DivNetGrip, and we will see you next week on Wednesday, 10:30. Same bat time, same bat channel for This Week on DNG Radio. We'll see you next week, folks. Bye-bye.
That's right.